Captain Jace Mallory stood alone on the bridge of the Ironwill, staring at the cold emptiness of space. The stars ahead looked peaceful, but his gut told him something was wrong. The ship's scanners picked up a strange signal, broken, full of static, but one chilling phrase cut through clearly. "They're coming. Run." Jace didn't wait. He spun the ship around and set course for Earth. His heart pounded, not just from the fear of what might be out there, but from a deeper pain that had never fully healed. 3 years ago, she had left him. Commander Serana Vex. She had walked away from their life, from their love, and, most painfully, from their newborn son, Kyle. No warning, no goodbye, just gone. She said she needed more than family. She said she couldn't live in his shadow. She joined the Galactic Council's special fleet and vanished into deep space. Since then, Jace had raised Kale alone. Every day, he balanced the life of a father with the duty of a soldier. He had pushed down the anger, buried the sadness, and focused on one thing: protecting humanity, protecting his son. But now, something ancient and dangerous was stirring in the dark. A few days after the signal, the outer colonies went silent. Surveillance drones picked up horrifying images. Massive biomechanical ships that looked like living monsters, tearing through human settlements with acid and flame. Ships shaped like claws and teeth. The Skarzul had returned. Everyone had believed they were gone, wiped out in the last galactic war. But now they were back, and stronger than ever. They weren't here for land or resources. They were here to wipe out every trace of human life. Earth Command scrambled to respond. Emergency lights flashed in every major fleet. Warships moved like thunderclouds across the stars. But Jace knew deep down, it might not be enough. The Skarzul didn't fight like normal enemies. They were like a storm that thought and hunted. They struck where it hurt most. Jace took a shuttle down to Earth to place Kyle in the protected underground shelters, where high-ranking officers' families stayed during galactic threats. He knelt in front of his son and looked into the boy's curious eyes. "I'll come back," he promised, "no matter what." Kale smiled and hugged his father tightly, trusting him with the unshakable faith only a child could have. Jace didn't show his fear. He stood, turned, and boarded the shuttle back to orbit. He returned to Ironwill, heart heavy and mind burning, with one thought: he had to win this war, for Kale, for humanity, for the ones who had no one else. As he prepared for the next briefing with Earth's top generals, he knew one thing for sure: the galaxy was about to burn, and if humanity was to survive, they would have to become something the enemy had never faced before. Not just fighters, but legends. And just as that thought settled in his mind, the War Council doors opened, and his past walked in. Serana, alive, standing in front of him like a ghost wearing armor. Her face was pale, her eyes hard, and her voice carried secrets. She had come back, after 3 years, and she had something to say. Earth was on high alert. The warning had come true. Deadly Skarzul fleets had returned from the dark edges of space, bringing destruction unlike anything humanity had seen before. The colonies far from Earth were the first to fall, one after another. Giant ships that looked like living creatures tore through the defenses, blasting settlements to ruins. With acid sprays and devastating energy weapons, Earth's leaders gathered urgently in the War Command Center, a massive room filled with glowing maps and screens showing real-time battles across the galaxy. The mood was tense, heavy with the knowledge that this was not just another war. It was a fight for survival. Captain Jace Mallory, still carrying the pain of the woman who had left him and their son behind, was called to join the leaders to help plan Earth's defense. He carried the weight of a father and a soldier on his shoulders. Even though his heart ached for Kale, who was safe in the underground shelters, Jace knew he had to focus on the battle ahead. As he entered the flagship Vigilant Star, his eyes caught the unexpected. Commander Serana Vex stood among the generals. She was the woman who had abandoned him and their child, the one who had vanished into the stars years ago. Her return was shocking. She was thinner now, her face marked by the hard lessons of space and war. Her eyes were sharp, almost cold, and her uniform bore the insignia of the Galactic Council, the very organization many humans distrusted. The room was silent. Jace's anger burned inside him, but he kept it hidden. Serana stepped forward, her voice steady as she shared vital intelligence. She claimed to have knowledge of the Skarzul's hive ship, the heart of their attack, and said she knew how to destroy it. But she needed the Iron Will, Jace's own ship, for the mission. The generals debated, weighing trust and desperation. Jace's jaw clenched, but the command was clear. If Serana's plan worked, it might save billions of lives. Though his pride and pain screamed no, Jace accepted. Serana had left him and Kale, but now she was offering a chance to fight side by side. The tension between them was thick, like a storm waiting to explode. Jace punched her once, hard enough to remind her of the past, but then he told her to speak only if it could help. She wiped the blood away and confessed she had made mistakes. She wasn't here for forgiveness. She was here to stop the Skarzul and save the last human world. With the mission set, Jace began preparing Iron Will and his crew for the most dangerous battle of their lives. They knew the Skarzul were ruthless and intelligent, using weapons and tactics no human had faced before. Earth's best pilots and soldiers gathered, their nerves tense but their resolve strong. Jace felt the weight of the galaxy pressing down on him, but he also felt something else. Hope. The hope that humanity, with all its flaws and pain, could still fight back and win. Serana's return, painful as it was, meant that maybe they could be stronger together. As Earth's fleets moved to block the Skarzul advance, Jace looked at Serana one last time before the battle. There was no warmth between them, only the cold steel of war and the fragile thread of shared purpose. Outside the window, stars twinkled like distant fires, waiting to be won or lost. The war had begun, and humanity's greatest test was just ahead. The war against the Skarzul had entered a brutal new stage. Jace Mallory and the Iron Will were now deep in enemy space, hunting the massive hive ship that was the key to the Skarzul's terrifying power. The ship was enormous, alive in a way no human machine had ever been. Its surface shifted and pulsed like a living beast, covered in thick plates that seemed to heal themselves after every blast. The hive ship commanded hundreds of smaller fighters, all swarming around it like angry insects. The Iron Will's crew worked like a well-oiled machine, their faces tight with focus and determination. Every man and woman knew the stakes. This fight was not just about winning a battle, it was about saving Earth, saving humanity's future. Jace sat in the captain's chair, his hands steady on the controls despite the pounding in his chest. Beside him, Serana's sharp eyes scanned the battlefield. Her knowledge of the Skarzul had been invaluable so far, guiding them through enemy traps and ambushes. But trust was still a fragile thing between them. Serana's presence stirred memories, both bitter and soft, and Jace fought to keep his emotions locked away. The space around them erupted in flashes of light and thunderous booms. The smaller Skarzul ships attacked in waves, fast and deadly, trying to wear down the Iron Will's shields. The human fighters swirled in response, weaving through the chaos with daring maneuvers born of desperation and hope. The battle was fierce and close. Explosions rocked the Iron Will, but the crew held fast, their weapons blazing. Jace gave orders with calm authority, pushing his ship and people beyond what anyone thought possible. In the midst of the fight, Serana revealed the plan to strike at the hive ship's core, deep inside its living hull, where the central command pulsed with strange alien energy. It was a suicide mission. The Iron Will would have to break through the thick armor, enter the hive, and destroy the core before the entire Skarzul fleet could regroup and crush them. Jace agreed without hesitation. There was no choice. The crew prepared for a desperate boarding action. As the Iron Will crashed into the hive ship's outer layers, the alien defenses surged to life. Biomechanical tentacles lashed out, grabbing at the hull. The airlock systems were unlike anything humans had ever faced, organic, shifting, and deadly. Jace led the boarding team through corridors that felt alive, walls pulsating and breathing around them. The alien environment was hostile, twisting their senses and testing their courage. Alongside him was Serana, fighting with the skill and cold efficiency of a seasoned warrior. But this mission was more than a battle. It was a test of their fragile alliance. Old wounds opened, words were exchanged in harsh whispers. Serana confessed she had been forced to join the Galactic Council's fleet to uncover secrets about the Skarzul and find a way to stop them. She had left to protect her family from those who didn't understand the threat. Jace listened, the anger inside him slowly giving way to a painful understanding. Together, they pushed deeper into the heart of the hive ship. The final chamber was a terrifying sight. A vast, glowing organ that pulsed with eerie light, the source of the Skarzul's power. As they planted explosives around it, the alien queen itself appeared. An enormous creature, both beautiful and horrifying, with eyes that seemed to pierce their souls. The fight was brutal and desperate. Jace and Serana battled side by side, every strike a fight for survival. The Queen's power was nearly overwhelming, but the human's will was stronger. With a final thunderous explosion, the core was destroyed. The hive ship shuddered and began to collapse, its control lost. Jace and his team raced back to the Iron Will, barely escaping as the monstrous ship fell apart behind them. As they jumped to safety, Jace looked at Serana. They had survived the impossible together, bound by a cause greater than their past. The galaxy was still dangerous, but humanity had won a crucial battle. And in the silent space between stars, a fragile hope began to grow. The destruction of the Skarzul hive ship was a hard-won victory, but it came at a great cost. The Iron Will was damaged, many crew members injured or lost, and the galaxy still trembled under the threat of the alien swarm. Captain Jace Mallory returned to Earth, his heart heavy with the pain of battle and the weight of responsibility. As the Iron Will approached Earth's orbit, the massive cityscape of the capital glittered below. But the celebrations he had hoped for were muted. The war was far from over. Yet something unexpected stirred in the hearts of humanity. A spark of pride and determination that no alien could crush. Jace's thoughts often drifted to his son, Kale, safe in the underground shelters, growing, stronger and wiser every day. He wondered how much the boy had changed while he fought among the stars. The moment he landed, Jace made his way to the secure compound where Kale was kept. The reunion was quiet but powerful. Father and son sharing a moment without words, only the warmth of a hug that said everything. Yet the past was not done with Jace. Commander Serana Vex asked for a private meeting. Her face was tired but resolute. She spoke of dark secrets uncovered during their mission. Secrets about the Galactic Council and its shadowy plans that had forced her to leave. She revealed that the Council had been hiding knowledge about the Skarzul, manipulating the war for their own gain. The revelation shook Jace's trust in the very people he served. Together, they decided to expose the truth and unite humanity against not just the alien threat, but the corruption within their own ranks. But it wasn't easy. As they worked to reveal the Council's secrets, they faced betrayal and sabotage. Some humans saw Serana as a traitor, and Jace as a man blinded by his past. Their alliance was tested again and again, but their shared goal kept them moving forward. Meanwhile, the Skarzul were regrouping. New attacks came with increased ferocity. Faster ships, smarter tactics, and more destruction. Entire systems called out for help as the alien swarm pushed closer to Earth's doorstep. In response, Jace and Serana led efforts to build stronger defenses and train new pilots, rallying the galaxy's scattered forces into a single, powerful fleet. The humans fought not just with weapons, but with hope. They adapted quickly, learning to predict the Skarzul's moves and strike with precision. In one daring raid, Jace led a squadron deep into enemy territory, destroying a key supply line and crippling the alien advance. The battle was fierce, and losses were heavy, but it showed humanity could hit back harder than ever before. Through it all, Jace and Serana's relationship slowly changed. Old pain and mistrust lingered, but respect and understanding grew. They weren't just warriors. They were survivors bound by sacrifice and shared purpose. In quiet moments, Jace glimpsed the woman who had left him, not just a commander but a fighter carrying her own scars. The war was far from over, but humanity's spirit was stronger. The final showdown loomed on the horizon, a battle that would decide the fate of Earth and every star system beyond. Jace stood ready, not just to fight, but to protect his son, his people, and the fragile hope that kept them all alive. The galaxy waited, holding its breath, as the storm of war gathered strength once more. The final battle had arrived. The Skarzul swarm, now larger and more desperate, moved like a dark wave toward Earth's defenses. Captain Jace Mallory stood on the bridge of the Iron Will, watching the endless stars suddenly fill with thousands of enemy ships, their shapes twisted and strange, moving with deadly purpose. The galaxy's fate rested on this moment, and every human pilot and soldier felt the weight of it deep in their bones. Jace's thoughts flashed to his son, Kale, safely hidden below Earth's surface, and to Serana, standing beside him with fierce determination. Despite the past between them, they had come to depend on each other, united by a common goal. As the enemy closed in, Earth's fleet surged forward, a shining spear of metal and fire, ready to meet the swarm head-on. Explosions lit up space like thunder as ships clashed in violent storms of energy and metal. The Iron Will weaved through the chaos, Jace barking orders, his voice calm but urgent. Pilots danced between enemy fire, dodging acid sprays and plasma blasts. The Skarzul fought with savage intelligence, adapting to every move, but humanity's courage and clever tactics kept them alive. Serana led a squadron on a risky mission to strike the Skarzul command vessels, hoping to break their coordination. Her fighters darted through heavy fire, striking fast and retreating before the enemy could react. The battle was brutal and relentless. Inside the Iron Will, the crew worked like a single organism, repairing damage and launching counterattacks. Jace felt the ship shudder under the weight of the fight, but their spirit did not break. As the fight wore on, Jace spotted the true heart of the Skarzul's power, a giant biocore ship that coordinated the swarm's attacks. Destroying it would turn the tide, but it was heavily guarded and almost impossible to reach. With no time to waste, Jace made a bold decision. Leading a small strike team, including Serana, he piloted a stealth fighter toward the core ship, cutting through enemy lines. The tension was suffocating. Every second counted. Inside the core ship's twisting corridors, the team faced horrors beyond imagining. Alien creatures that melded flesh and machine, traps that twisted the mind, and a darkness that seemed to breathe. Jace's leadership and the team's courage kept them moving forward, despite fear gnawing at their hearts. At last, they reached the core's control chamber, a vast room glowing with pulsating alien energy. The Skarzul Queen, massive and terrifying, waited there, her many eyes burning with fury. The fight was fierce. Jace and Serana moved with speed and skill, striking at the Queen's limbs while dodging her deadly attacks. Explosions rocked the chamber as the team planted charges around the core. Just as the Queen prepared to deliver a final, crushing blow, Jace made a desperate move, diverting power to his suit's strength and lunging forward to strike. The Queen screamed, the chamber shaking as the charges detonated. The core erupted, in a blinding light, destroying the ship and sending shockwaves through space. Jace and his team barely escaped in the chaos, their ship racing back to Earth's orbit. As they arrived, the remaining Skarzul fleet scattered, leaderless and broken. Humanity had won. Exhausted but triumphant, Jace looked at Serana, knowing their battle was over, but their journey just beginning. The war had tested them all, pushed them to their limits and forced painful choices. But in the end, humanity's spirit shone brightest, proving that even in the darkest times, hope, courage, and unity could overcome any threat. The stars were safe, for now, and as Earth's people began to rebuild, they knew one thing for sure. No force in the galaxy could ever crush the will of humanity. The war was finally over, but its echoes lingered deep in the hearts of those who had fought. Captain Jace Mallory stood on the deck of the Iron Will, now docked in Earth's vast spaceport, watching the sun rise over the blue planet. The sky was clearer than it had been for years, a sign that the darkest days had passed. Around him, the hum of rebuilding, ships and bustling crews filled the air, a sign of hope and renewal. His thoughts turned to his son, Kale, who had grown strong and curious during these years of conflict. The boy was no longer the small child Jace had left behind, but a young boy filled with wonder and courage, just like his father. The bond between them was healing, made stronger by the battles they had survived apart. Serana Vex, once a stranger with secrets and a heavy past, now stood at Jace's side as an equal. Their journey had not been easy. Trust had been slow to grow, and old wounds had reopened more than once, but the fire forged between them in the heat of battle had created a powerful alliance. Serana's knowledge and skill had saved countless lives, and her courage inspired many. The Galactic Council, exposed and shaken by the truths Serana had revealed, was now forced to change. The corruption that had hidden vital knowledge and endangered humanity was rooted out, and new leaders rose who truly put the people's safety first. Earth and its allies began to rebuild their fleets, strengthen their defenses, and heal the wounds left by years of war. But the scars were not just on ships and cities. They were in the hearts of all who lived through the terror. Jace took it upon himself to help rebuild not only the physical world, but the spirit of his people. He spoke to crowds, sharing stories of courage and sacrifice, reminding everyone that humanity's greatest strength was its unbreakable will to survive and protect what they loved. Kale, growing into a young man, trained to be a pilot, inspired by his father's bravery. Jace watched him with pride, knowing that the future was in good hands. The memories of the war remained vivid. The flash of alien weapons, the roar of engines in space, the desperate moments inside the hive ship's living corridors. But more powerful than fear was the memory of unity, hope, and sacrifice. Jace and Serana often spoke of the future, dreaming of a galaxy where humans could explore freely, make allies, and never again face the horror of the Skarzul. The wounds of the past would not be forgotten, but they would serve as lessons, guiding humanity to be stronger and wiser. One quiet evening, Jace stood with Serana on the balcony overlooking Earth's shining cities. The stars stretched out endlessly above them, silent witnesses to a battle fought and won. "We lost much," Serana said softly, "but we gained something no enemy can take." Jace nodded, a slow smile breaking across his face. "Hope, and the will to protect it, no matter the cost." The galaxy had been a dangerous place, but humanity had proven it could stand tall, face any threat, and rise victorious. And as long as that fire burned in their hearts, no shadow could ever swallow their light. The war was over. The future awaited, and humanity was ready.